The summer cruise season is about to begin, and there are a number of changes you should be aware of before you go on a cruise. In fact, I have 5 cruises planned for the summer, and maybe more to come. As I start planning things out, though, it's become clear there are some new things to take into account. Now, I'm an over planner, and I like to prep as much as I can in the months leading up to my cruise. I actually think it's fun to plan out a cruise, so it gives me an outlet for my pent-up excitement about my vacation. And in looking at cruises we've got coming up this year, I came up with 4 changes coming to cruises this summer that anybody with a sailing should think about before the trip begins. Number 1, let's talk about real ID because it really does matter, but maybe not necessarily for a cruise. The hot button change coming to all of travel in the US this summer is the real ID mandate. As of May 7th, there will be new security standards for driver's licenses and state ID cards within the US. The change applies to enhancing federal standards, including passing through security airport checkpoints. This means if you're flying within the United States for your cruise vacation, you need to double check your driver's license meets the standard or you'll be denied entry at the airport. If you have a passport, you can totally ignore this because you can use that instead. Now, while these new rules apply for air travel as it relates to real ID, you don't need a real ID for a cruise vacation specifically. Cruise lines, including Royal Caribbean, allow U.S. citizens sailing round trip from the same U.S. home port, that doesn't include a visit to Panama, Colombia, or Martinique, can sail with a government-issued photo ID and birth certificate. So that means you don't need a real ID. However, I do strongly recommend everybody cruise with a passport, but technically, there's an alternative for Americans on select itineraries. Number 2, don't wait to book a last-minute cruise. If the summer cruise sounds like a great idea for a vacation, you really should pause this video and go book it now because don't wait another minute. Royal Caribbean recently said that prices are going up for last minute cruises, and it's a good enough reason to book the cruise as early as possible. The cruise line doesn't slash prices of unsold cabins at the last minute, at least not very regularly anyway. Rather, they're hiking prices actually. They told this to Wall Street, where they had an earnings call, and they're saying they're taking advantage of anybody trying to squeeze a cruise in right before it starts. Royal Caribbean Group CEO Jason Liberty explained this tactic during that earnings call. He said, quote, "We see an uplift in demand as we get close in. Not only do we see an uplift in demand, we're also about to raise our pricing during that period of time," end quote. This means you're going to want to book that summer cruise now and not wait to try to wait it out any longer. Even if you don't care about higher prices and money is not an object, well, let me invite you to join our Royal Caribbean Blog Club here on YouTube. The reality is cabins left for a summer cruise are dwindling. The company said 86% of the 2025 cruise inventory for the entire year is booked already. And more importantly, if you wait to the last minute to book your cruise, even if you're okay with paying more for that cruise, the reality is there's going to be very few cabins left. If you want a suite, well, good luck on that one. But a balcony or a more highly desirable cabin, those are going to be the ones that are going to be completely gone. So again, you're going to want to act quickly and book a vacation now before prices go up. Number 3, U.S. citizens now need to pay to enter the U.K. If you're cruising the United Kingdom or your ship visits UK port, there's a new fee and a step to take. As of January of 2025, travelers coming to the UK need to obtain a new electronic travel authorization to enter the country. This applies to all visitors, regardless of age, who can travel there visa-free, including Americans. Now, the ETA application cost is £10 or about $13, and it will be valid for multiple visits to a maximum duration of 6 months over 2 years. You need to apply before your travel starts, and there's a requirement to upload a photo. Basically, you download the ETA app on your phone, and you go through the whole process. It's pretty easy. It takes 2 minutes. It's really easy. Because officials claim, though, it takes 3 days to obtain clearance, but in my experience, you'll get it within about a minute or two. Regardless, don't wait until the day before your trip to do it. All you have to do is download the ETA app, which is available on iOS or Android devices. Take a few minutes, fill out some information. It's something you're going to need to do, because if you don't do it, you will be denied entry into the UK, believe it or not. And number 4, don't bring your speaker to Coco Key. A new rule change that was first spotted during spring break is that Royal Caribbean doesn't want you bringing your speakers anymore to its private island. There are 4 rules the cruise line posted on its digital cruise compass the day your ship visits Perfect Day. Number 1, swim diapers are required for pools and Splashaway Bay. Number 2, don't feed the seagulls, which please don't feed the seagulls. Please, please, please. Number 3, no fishing. And lastly, number 4, no glass bottles or personal speakers. Now, while the other rules really aren't new, the prohibition on personal speakers is a change to be aware of for your visit this summer. Now, I can assume this rule is in place to prevent somebody's music from impacting somebody else's ability to enjoy their day there, but nonetheless, you're technically not supposed to bring personal speakers on the island and blast your music or in any volume, quite frankly. It doesn't say anything about volume, just simply you cannot bring personal speakers, and that definitely is a change there. While I'm at it, I think we should go over a few summer cruise tips you'll definitely want to use for your trip this summer. Let's start with number one, and that is you're going to need more money than you probably think for an Alaska or European cruise. Shore excursions and pretty much everything are more expensive in Alaska and Europe than on a Caribbean cruise. The first time I visited either region, I was a bit shocked by some of those prices that I saw. Alaska cruises are really remote, so the cost of really everything, including everyday items, is simply higher. Plus, access to glaciers and other special areas are limited, and that demand, of course, drives up the cost. In Europe, you're going to find organized tours that tend to cost more than maybe one in the Caribbean. In either case, you could try to save money by doing tours on your own. Doing self-guided tours is actually a really great idea. I prefer these in general, but I'm also been there, done that a little bit, and I feel very comfortable doing that. Not everyone has that ability. Also, you might have mobility issues, you might have a big group, and in some cases, you really want to learn the history rather than having some kid named Aiden rattling off facts off Google while you're walking past things. There is value in that. So, that being said, if you're looking to go to one of these places like Europe or Alaska, definitely plan on dedicating more money to your vacation budget for a cruise this summer. Speaking of shore excursions, though, definitely start booking your tours now. If you're like me and you booked a summer cruise a long time ago, consider this a reminder to start actually booking shore excursions. Because I book cruises so far in advance, I neglect to start actually booking tours until oftentimes it's too late. Lots of people have gotten the memo about pre-booking tours, and you really need to reserve shore excursions before the cruise begins. In fact, you should be doing it months early to avoid them selling out. You might also take into consideration it's much hotter in the afternoon, so if you're planning anything outdoors and requiring a lot of physical activity, try to pick a time that's in the morning before it gets overly hot. Or you could plan walking around the city in the morning and then plan to hit the beach by lunch when the sun becomes intolerable. Just like waiting for a last-minute cruise deal, waiting to get on board the ship and then plan tours, or even worse, like getting into the port and then figuring out what you're going to do, is really a mistake waiting to happen. Too many people now are pre-planning, and that's driving up demand. I mean, when you get on board the ship and you look at the Royal Caribbean excursions that are left, you're going to really be surprised how few options are left over because most of the best ones have been picked over. If you're taking a Caribbean cruise this summer, you need to prepare for the possibility of a hurricane. A summer cruise in the Caribbean will take place during hurricane season, which begins June 1st and goes through November 30th. The reality is, though, most hurricanes hit later in the summer, with the worst months being mid-August through mid-October. There's a low chance of a hurricane will actually change your particular sailing, but it could happen. So, here's my recommendations for how to prepare for hurricane season. Number one, I'd recommend buying travel insurance for your trip. I think you should have it for really any cruise, but it's doubly important with the possibility of a hurricane impacting your plans. You should also have pretty flexible plans, at least as flexible as you could possibly be when it comes to your cruise, meaning opt for refundable options where you can. If you're booking a shore excursion, a hotel reservation, and anything else you reserve before the cruise begins, you want to make sure, if possible, you book those to be refundable. You never know if your cruise might get rerouted to avoid tropical weather. The good news is most shore excursions are pretty much going to cancel and give you a refund if your ship is unable to visit there. As an example, if you're scheduled to go to the Eastern Caribbean and you end up in the Western Caribbean instead because of a hurricane, usually most tour operators are pretty cool with giving you a refund. Certainly, if you book a Royal Caribbean shore excursion, they'll have your back on that one. Anyone taking a cruise this summer should be realistic about the fact that there could be a storm that would impact their cruise. It's unlikely, and don't worry, your ship's not going to sail into the hurricane. You're probably just going to end up going somewhere else. Next on my list of things I would do right now is, well, book your summer flight. Ideally, you would start looking for flights 3 months before the dates you want to travel to find the best possible price. International travel really requires booking flights even earlier, about 3 to 5 months in advance. But just like cruise fare, don't wait on it, don't sleep on it, don't try to time it. Book those flights, get them in there, because prices only tend to go up. Moreover, I've got another summer flight tip for you, and that is, if at all possible, pick the earliest flight in the morning. Generally speaking, in the summertime, the atmosphere heats up, and that's when thunderstorms and travel delays occur. So if you have the choice, and I know it stinks, But if there's like a 6 a.m. flight or 7 a.m. flight, which is really early, but it's the first flight of the day and your plane is already going to be there, that's a huge advantage when traveling. I'd rather be tired than frustrated and tired because, of course, my flight is delayed or canceled or anything like that. Something else you're going to need to do this summer is make a reminder to book shows. One of the top regrets cruisers have is not seeing the amazing shows on these Royal Caribbean ships, so set a reminder to book the shows now. Royal Caribbean typically opens up reservations for shows 30 days before the cruise begins. Advanced reservations for shows are only available on the Oasis, Quantum, and Icon class ships, and it's free to do it via the Cruise Planner site or Royal Caribbean app. There's no option to make show reservations on older ships because it's not necessary. If we're talking about a summer cruise, we should also be talking about sun protection because you could get sunburned any time of the year, but really, summer is when it's easiest for it to occur. So one of my top tips, and this is probably something your mom told you too, is to pack sunscreen with an SPF of at least 30, plus hats, sunglasses, and cover-ups to protect your skin. There's simply no excuse for getting sunburned on a cruise. It's a really rookie mistake, and while getting sunburned may not seem like a big deal, it's a really painful one later on, and it can really just impact your ability to enjoy the cruise. Speaking of summer cruises, though, if you're going to the Mediterranean, Mexican Riviera, or Caribbean, I'd recommend finding every way to possibly cool down. I just sweat all the time. I hate it. Anyway, summer temperatures in these regions can easily reach 90 degrees or higher, and being hot and sweaty is just not enjoyable. So there are two ideas to consider for packing for your summer cruise to help you keep less sweaty, and those are cooling towels and a handheld fan. Cooling towels, which we have a link to here in this video, are a neat idea that allow you to kind of feel a little bit less hot and take the heat off your body. And a handheld fan has become a really popular add-on for a lot of folks to, again, keep the air moving. In some cases, it's not necessarily as hot as it is stagnant, and having a fan that's battery powered can really make a big deal. I'd also recommend planning to avoid the pool deck in the afternoon when it's hottest. Instead, stay inside your ship and enjoy trivia, karaoke, or the casino. If you've got a summer cruise plan, let me know in the comments below where you're headed, what your plans are, and which of these tips are you going to be able to apply. While you're down below our video, hit the like button. Subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications. That way YouTube lets you know we have a brand new video to share. This has been Matt from RoyalCaribbeanBlog.com, and we'll talk again real soon.